A bit of upside at last. Welcome to Simon's Trading Channel. Happy Thursday to you. Hope you're all well. And let's just dive straight in with the price action analysis. If you enjoy this kind of video, then I do one every day, so please like and subscribe. I'd be very grateful. Okay, so you can see today's been a nice green day, following yesterday being rather less significant to the upside, let's say it. But crucially, neither of those days have broken down back below this wick low here from the beginning of the week. And I've just got the RSI up at the moment, so I did a bit of an explanation of RSI a few videos back, but basically when it's above 50, you know that the average profit is greater than the average loss. And so you can see that looks like it's likely to occur at some point. And what's more significant is, well, when average profits are greater than average losses, that's an uptrend, right? So yeah, it's getting close to moving back into the top half of the RSI chart and also gaining the moving average as well. That's all I'm going to do with the RSI. It's just because it was on the chart when I started my video. So I much prefer visually looking at the trusty MACD, as you all know. And, got an identical pair of them. Don't need them both. Okay, so yeah, you can see that at long last, as long as this daily candle, which has 4 hours left, continues as it is, then that's going to close with the MACD turning back to the upside. Now it is, and it will remain with upside posture, still downside momentum, but upside posture, if prices remain above 58.5, which is about $1,000 away from where it is at the moment. So, you know, that's by no means outright bullish, but it's not quite so bearish as it has been the last few days. I should really have started with a weekly, because, you know, classically you start with a higher time frame and then work your way down, but, you know, I haven't, so I apologize. Now, as Thursday approaches, and I will talk about this Fibonacci retracement in a moment, I promise you it's not just on the charts decoration, but as Thursday approaches on this weekly time frame, well, really, since Monday when it wicked down to whatever it was, 49,000, things have been on the up. And to be honest, the closure of that weekly candle right now, let's say that, you know, it was the end of the week right now, that would look to me just like consolidation rather than any form of breakout or breakdown. And so I do wonder if the rest of the week sort of continues in a similar direction, slightly up, sideways and up. That's what we may end up with. But there are still 3 days and 5 hours to go for the Bybit closure, and a little bit less for CME, just 1 day and 2 hours. And CME indeed has a bit of a premium over Bybit at the moment. It's back above 60,000. 60,000 has been a key area for a long time and remains as such. So yeah, things could look worse. I do wonder if we are going to see the complete fill of this gap on CME here, which would take Bitcoin back up to around about 62.5 on CME. That number will be a little bit different on Bybit, but, you know, somewhere around there. And somewhere, a weekly closure around 62.5, consolidation, back on, just bouncing around within a big range, and neither all-time new highs nor significant further breakdown. That would be my suggestion based on the price action. I will check in now. I'm going to start on a daily, went up to a weekly, then I'm going to come back down to a 4 hour. Now the 4 hour, you can see is getting close to crossing above the zero line. You can kind of see how these things all like bleed from one to the other, right? Like the weekly momentum, my defined momentum with MACD above the zero line has been up there the whole time. The daily has been down for some time, pretty much since the weekend, last weekend, and it looks like it will just turn back up after today's closure. And the 4-hour that clearly preceded that change in daily MACD trend has been on the rise since Monday. So since Bitcoin decided not to break down below this wick, which is basically the current low. And yeah, it's getting close to the zero line. So for me, 4-hour momentum will be back to the upside if Bitcoin gets back above here. And at the moment, that's at 61.5. That'll probably come down a wee bit. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being around 61,000. And where is that on the chart? That is pretty much here, which is an obvious support resistance line as well. Although I'd argue that this sort of 59.7 for the 4-hour chart, I drew this line on the other day. Yeah, it's pretty much here. It'll be a region, but it's, as you can see, that's where price action is at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a bit of resistance there, or indeed if it does break above without any sort of meaningful pullback on this 4-hour time frame, then likely a retest of that area before a move sort of securing the mid-60s, and you know that CME gap tops out at 62.5. So that's on CME though, but it's slightly different on Bybit. Well, in fact, there isn't a gap on Bybit, but you know what I mean. The prices are a little bit different between CME and Bybit. So yeah, that would be pretty bullish. Do I see a change in trend on this 4-hour? Yeah, I think I do, although there's a key area, and it's basically hanging out at the key area. If it can start closing back above basically 61,000, and I'd sort of rather more securely suggest this is a change in trend. But you can see as of, was that yesterday? That was Wednesday, sort of early evening, excuse me for picking my nose, when Bitcoin failed to break down further and actually turned back up and then got back above the local high. Well, that to me becomes a low, which is a higher low compared to this one. And a higher low is the first thing that you see in a change of trend, and it tends to precede a higher high, or indeed a high if that's the first one in the sequence. But I think there's already a high here. So yeah, where's the next higher high going to occur? I reckon probably somewhere where I've drawn that line. That's probably quite reasonable. And then the next higher low, should it continue in an uptrend on the 4-hour, for me has to come in above basically 55,000, 55,000, something like that. So that would be another higher low watch for me personally. How many minutes is that? 8.5. Yeah. So I think all of the crazy paranoia that was involved in this move down. Well, it's not really paranoia because it was actually a move down, so it's not paranoia, but maybe the sort of hyper-reflexivity that you get, and you just get a lot of naysayers when Bitcoin does anything other than just go straight up, and you know, that's just not going to happen, right? I mean, this isn't, 2011, 2012 in Bitcoin's juvenile past. It's it's not a mature asset by any stretch of the imagination, but it's probably at least getting out of its toddler time period, and maybe getting into approaching high school. Right, that's enough of that. I mean, I'm starting to talk a bit rubbish now, so I hope you've enjoyed the video. If so, yeah, drop me a like, subscribe, and share with your friends. That'll be awesome. And come back tomorrow when I'll try not to draw as many squiggly lines on the chart. Take care. See you on Friday for CME's closure. Goodbye.